All right, let's talk about something real. Picture this. It's Thursday morning. You grab your phone, you open your banking app, and that familiar feeling hits you right in the gut. You got paid like 2 weeks ago, you know you make a decent living, but the number staring back at you, it just doesn't add up. And then comes the frantic scroll, right? You're trying to do this mental gymnastics, piecing together the transactions. A coffee here, that Amazon thing there, an Uber. It's like a digital graveyard of tiny, forgettable decisions. And you're left thinking, I'm earning more than I ever have, so why do I feel so broke? Well, if you've ever had that Thursday morning panic, trust me, you are not alone.
See, we have this idea that financial ruin is some huge, dramatic event like a car crash. But the truth? It's much quieter. It's not one big, catastrophic mistake that gets you. It's hundreds, maybe thousands of tiny, seemingly harmless choices that you make on complete autopilot. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the 5 biggest habits that are quietly keeping you poor.
Let's kick things off with maybe the most dangerous one of all, justifying all those little, frequent purchases as a reward for just being tired. You know the feeling. You've had a long, brutal day at work and your brain is just toast.
And there's actually a psychological reason for this. It's called ego depletion. When your willpower is shot after a long day, you're at your most vulnerable. You open up that food delivery app thinking, you know what, I deserve a treat. But you're not really buying food, are you? You're buying a quick little hit of dopamine to make the stress go away. And companies make it dangerously easy with one-click ordering and saved cards. It's frictionless.
So what's the real damage here? Let's do some quick math. Let's say that I deserve it spending adds up to just $50 a week. It doesn't sound like a lot, right? But what if you invested that same $50 a week into a simple S&P 500 index fund? Over 20 years, that could grow to over $126,000. Let that sink in. You are literally trading a 6-figure nest egg for some lukewarm French fries.
So how do you fix it? Well, you can't rely on willpower. It's a muscle, and it gets tired. Instead, you need a system. At the beginning of the month, decide on a guilt-free treat budget. And here's the key. Take that amount out in physical cash and put it in your wallet. When that cash is gone, the treats stop for the month. Simple. It replaces unreliable feelings with a cold, hard limit.
This leads us perfectly into our second habit, letting your bank account slowly bleed out from a dozen different subscriptions you've completely forgotten about. It's death by 1,000 tiny cuts.
Check this out. A recent study found something absolutely wild. They asked people to guess how much they spend on subscriptions every month. The average guess? $86. But when they actually went through the bank statements, the cold, hard reality was $273 a month. I mean, that's not just a little off. That is a massive blind spot in our own finances.
And the psychology behind this is just brilliant on the company's part. It's called status quo bias. They know we're basically lazy. Once we sign up for that free trial, the odds are we're either going to forget to cancel or just can't be bothered to go find that hidden cancellation button. They're literally weaponizing our own inertia against our wallets.
So here's the fix, and I want you to actually do this. Go print out your last 30-day bank statement. I'm serious, a physical copy. Take a pen and circle every single recurring charge you see. Then, for each one, ask yourself, does this provide massive, undeniable value to my life? If the answer isn't a hell yes, cancel it, right then and there. You could always sign back up later if you miss it. Spoiler alert, you won't.
Okay, this next one. This habit is arguably the single biggest destroyer of wealth for the middle class, and it's this obsession with the monthly payment instead of the total cost.
This is the whole game right here. It's a fundamental mindset shift. Wealthy people ask one question: what's the total cost? But the middle class gets trapped asking, can I afford the monthly payment? Car salespeople are masters at exploiting this. They don't want to talk about the $30,000 sticker price. They want to know if a low payment of $499 a month works for your budget.
Let's look at the absolutely brutal math of this. So you're looking at a $45,000 car. To get you that affordable monthly payment, the dealership stretches your loan out to 84 months. That's 7 years. By the time you finally make that last payment, you've actually spent over $58,000. And that car you bought, it's now worth what, maybe 18 grand? You've experienced a net loss of $40,000. You've effectively just set a pile of your money on fire.
So, the fix for this is a dead simple, non-negotiable rule. If an item goes down in value the second you buy it, think cars, electronics, furniture, clothes, you pay for it in full with cash you already have, or you simply do not buy it.
period. If you have to break a $200 purchase into 4 easy payments, that's the universe screaming at you that you cannot afford it. Listen. All right, on to habit number 4. This is about paying a massive premium for the illusion of saving time. I call it the convenience tax. We all feel so crunched for time, right? So we start outsourcing the most basic functions of life.
This is a perfect example. Let's say your grocery basket costs $100 if you go to the store yourself. By the time you get it delivered through an app, you've paid for item markups, service fees, delivery fees, and of course, a tip. That $100 basket now costs you $140. That is a 40% tax you are willingly paying just so you don't have to put on pants and leave the house. The only way to fight this is to reclaim some basic competency in your own life. Do your own grocery shopping. Dedicate 2 hours on a Sunday to meal prep for the week. And here's a good one. If you get a craving for takeout, force yourself to physically get in the car and go pick it up. You will be amazed at how often that craving magically disappears once a little bit of effort is involved.
And finally, we've arrived at habit number 5. And this one is sneaky because it affects even the most responsible people, the savers. And that's the habit of keeping way too much of your money sitting in a standard checking or savings account.
The reason we do this is a powerful psychological bias called loss aversion. Investing in the stock market feels risky, right? Because the number can go down. But hoarding cash in a savings account feels emotionally safe because that number on the screen never, ever goes down. But what we fail to see is the invisible thief of inflation silently robbing us blind.
So let's make that thief visible. Let's say you had $10,000 sitting in your checking account back in 2020. Today, in 2024, your screen still says $10,000. But because the price of gas, groceries, rent, everything has skyrocketed, the actual purchasing power of that money has dropped by about 20%. So in reality, your 10 grand can only buy what 8 grand could a few years ago. You effectively lost $2,000 by playing it safe.
So the path forward is a really simple 2-step system. First, your emergency fund, your 3 to 6 months of living expenses, needs to be moved to a high-yield savings account. It's just a safe, but it actually pays you a decent interest rate. Second, every single dollar beyond that emergency fund needs to be invested in assets that can outpace inflation, like low-cost index funds. Your money has to get off the sidelines and go to work for you.
All right, let's bring it all home. Taking control of your money isn't about depriving yourself or being cheap. It's about shifting from being passive to being aggressively intentional. You budget for your treats, so they're guilt-free. You audit your subscriptions like a hawk. You refuse to finance junk that loses value. You reclaim basic life tasks, and you put your money to work. You stop just floating along, and you start building real, powerful momentum.
Look, this isn't going to happen overnight, but just being aware of these traps is the first, most critical step. The entire system is pretty much designed to painlessly separate you from your money. So the only question left to ask is, are you ready to fight back? Are you ready to become aggressively intentional?